We bought some too, and I no, how do you feel? Good. It's worth driving 3 hours. Yeah, to go there to get here. Yeah. So usually no Toronto. Sometimes Calgary. No, it's a long trip for mom. Yes, it was a long trip for her, but we got here and we just hung out at Christmas. Absolutely not. That's all. I was shocked the first time. Sign the book, gentlemen. Did you get?
Did I get what?
Get
Oh, I did not. I got one of those though.
all right, because you gotta get. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Picture?
Thank you.
Red hot ones for you. Good. There.
Okay.
Tommy, sorry. And
He's
I
coming.
love you.
I think he's coming. Yeah.
Much better than last time.
Yeah. Still have some party.
Yes. Without, well,
I don't know who's going to arrange it though.
we'll have a picture of him.
Yeah. We'll get him and Bernie Sanders.
That's a great picture of him.
Oh, there's a little picture.
Yeah, there's all kinds of pictures over there. Hopefully everybody's included.
Picture from the super long area.
Oh yeah,
Right there.
oh yeah. That's what, I have the wedding picture one
Oh yeah?
with all of them, the whole family's there.
Huh.
And then he's got that. Oh, okay. That's Donald Trump here on this.
And then we had a party.
Look at this picture. Oh, there's the fur coat.
Yeah.
The famous fur coat.
I know. I know.
What?
Oh, I'm gonna find the signing book.
Yes.
Even though I can't read or write.
X
try.
marks the spot.
X?
Will you be seeing any, you would like to have a bottom ticket on here?
Oh. You just won 10 grand now.
Yeah, I know.
What's he gonna do with the money? God.
That's a year's work. Careful, double your methods.
I was
They should. Why, are they gonna bite you? When they ignite? You didn't like the pictures, so she wants all the pictures.
So there's no pressure.
She ain't next thing about the
No, I'm okay. I'm not.
Me neither.
Yeah.
So we're good? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Get anybody out.
So are you married?
Oh, really? Me too. That's right. I live at Leyte, and I live at Shading Lake, Leyte, and on 124. Douglas. Oh yeah. Oh okay. Oh, where do you work in Michigan? Oh okay.
Yeah, so I'm running a semi-trailer repair shop.
Oh awesome.
I do trailer repair.
That's different than Point Grey.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be an artist.
You're not working at Dunkin' yet this summer?
No, I haven't been probably
He's a chef.
Oh, wasn't that was also your, if I remember correctly, your dad's like, yeah.
my dad owns the
Yeah.
so my brother is kind of running the show up there now. And so I used to have to go on a trip with me, I guess.
Yeah.
My friends are actually doing it this summer. Is it now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be looking.
Yeah, because I guess still when I order all the
The Americans are coming. Huh.
Yeah. That's kind of crazy. That,
No kidding.
yeah.
Who else is coming from Point Grey?
I think Eddie and I think Orlando, he's going to try to come. Orlando called me this morning. Well, I work with Orlando at.
Robin? I think Robin. No? He's sick. Patrick the whole time.
Hi, Alicia, how are you? Good to see you.
I was a neighbor for 10 years. The Spokane 302.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh!
Oh yeah.
I love the blonde.
Good for her. So she's there for good.
Oh my gosh, it's just
Scotland.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
She has a dream come, so that's
Oh, there's a coat and closet just right off over there. Cards. Oh, cards.
Oh, yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Did you have an opportunity to view, or you don't have to? I know, it's, we're just signing here from Point Grey.
Okay. Yeah. So you remember the agenda thing, right? Sorry.
Thanks. We're hoping you do.
Are they going to start the video? Whatever. Huh?
As soon as I get
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, all those messages.
Help yourself with drinks or whatever, Leo.
Hello, are you just coming in? Would you honor us with a sign in here? Beautiful man.
I don't know who to ask. And why can't they open it?
Here, by the way, there's so I'm sorry. They were able to.
she's waiting for you.
Okay.
When you wrap it up, say now we will see
That's what they said. There's nothing in Ontario. Okay. So after the, it's very well known area.
sit down.
Yeah.
I'm good until I have to do the stretch.
It is 6:30. That's the day. You want that?
Well, thank you. Thank you. You're a good one.
took the, it was on a waiting list for the third person. I'm just gonna keep making it a little bit.
Yes, and I'm just kind of staying here to go like, my son, I just want to greet people still. And that's it. Okay.
Well, you can also get it earlier. So, when you go on the website, is there anybody saying you can't do it?
I have one young fellow there. Yeah. George Street, my name
I'm sorry. Yes, there's a link, and then there's also.
I can hook you up with an orange from my bag. I'm here for everything you need.
Sign our book for us.
The other way, you can still get to it.
Thank you. This is from Keith.
Lions, Cowboys, and Broncos.
You ready for yours?
I didn't say your specific people. If you want to see it, what's control? We take out.
Okay.
I did.
Thus far, dogs first. Like after the they may, but nobody's made commitment. That makes sense. Right, because that's often happens.
Sherry, you're the last one.
Part of my. Oh, is it? Okay. I started the film show, you started the shtick. So sorry, right?
This,
I speak, that's what I say. Which I afraid that I I like that one better. Don't you? Because everybody knows the words to that. I know that too. That's definitely help her take it off. It helps with the tricky part is I'm on the whole as well. I just missed two phone calls. Well, they were personal phone calls. There, this is super cool.
Yes.
I like it. Take yours. We took one. Just kind of loses its touch, you know what I mean? So I like it. Like maybe we'll just wake up tomorrow. Just yeah, you're right. You're right for yeah. Hey, Luther. Most of the shit no, none of that happened. We tried 7 times. You can tell somebody, but a sheet or two.
We watch a lot of cooking shows on our phone. Now I'm just doing
Buy that, right? Well, I called them that night, called them twice in the morning.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. I don't see it.
I've gone up and I've gone up to check on it.
Put it on the website. That's right, yeah.
So, you know, but. Yeah. But you. Welcome. We're having a sign-in for Keith. If you would give us that pleasure.
Interesting. I couldn't, not a TV person.
I'm just checking over.
Yep, you go ahead.
Of course he would. He'd like you to have a scratch on hand. It's key. So there's an opportunity to scratch or ching pull or anything. You've heard about me. Yes, I have heard of so. At your best. Proud weird diva. As I am wearing a diva outfit. We must honor the diva. Okay, there's tissues in the Husband, but yeah, he kind of rubbed off, didn't he? Absolutely. It's a little bit more casual than some, it's around tables and that kind of stuff, so. Some of your homies. Perfect. Good to see you. Sit home right now. Oh, there's no training of that dog, right? Slow relax.
Hi, I'm Rob.
Rob. Good. And scratch your I had to be a diva today. I had to be a diva It looks like it.
It's very high.
Did you get it? Did you get fruit? Okay. Perfect. Center selling. And I'm like, send her flowers. Nope, don't send Robin flowers. Nope. What else can we send?
Hello, and welcome. Help yourself to the drink, and please turn off your cell phone. Probably start in a couple minutes. Thank you. Hello, my name is Paul Kozak. I'm Keith's brother. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all for coming and would like to thank the Valley View for setting up this event. We had the service here in 2006 in August for our mother, and I knew that Keith was comfortable with a similar send-off. I still have the wallet card prayer for her picture. We made cards for Keith and they have been passed out. For anyone watching, we will find a way to get you one upon request. If you get one, please look at it once in a while. Because there is a famous saying, if you don't remember those that you loved and lost, talk to them often and laugh out loud with them. They died twice. This speech is a collaboration with my brother Ralph and special input from others. The bar service and scratch tickets are compliments of Keith, aka Good Time Charlie, a nickname his mother Helen gave him in 2005. Please, let's now bow our heads in a moment of silence and in prayer. Amen, and thank you. In terms of religion, Keith believed in a higher power and spiritual energy, and not everything that happens is random or a consequence of actions. We were brought up Protestant, and the formality of attending church likely ended when Ralph and Keith were about 10. They were both baptized and altar boys for a while, but their careers ended when my mother, who dropped them off at the church on Glidden Street, found out that they used to sneak out the back door and use the basket money they were given to buy candy and ice cream down the street. This was likely the beginning of their Bonnie, that's Keith, and Clyde era. Although they tried to steal people's hearts and not their money. My joke for Keith at this time would have been, what do you call a happy-go-lucky spiritual guy? The Jolly Lama. Younger in his life, he and Ralph both loved to play and were athletic, and eventually I came along and joined their crew for a while. They both watched over me and protected me, but eventually, due to the age spread, they were starting to show signs that they wanted to be free and grow and enjoy the 70s like regular hippie teenagers, and I wasn't ready or able to join in. I am 7.5 years younger than Keith and six years younger than Ralph. At Christmas when I was 9, they bought me an Aerosmith album. I used my money I saved from collecting pop bottles to buy them much better and more appropriate gifts. But did, however, grow into loving Aerosmith music and most anything else they pushed my direction later on in life. The song that comes to mind for Keith, for me, is Sweet Emotion from Dream On. We were 3 brothers and our parents' sons, and the gifts that we got from them were equal, but different, as Ralph and I got more George, Jean, and Keith was blessed to get more Helen, aka Cottontail. Long story for another day. It was not uncommon for friends of the family to categorize us as the 3 B's: brains, brawn, or best athlete, and beauty. This is our legacy, and Keith was definitely the beauty. Inside and out. In continuing with Ralph and Keith's team life, they figured out a clever way how to explore and experiment with the primary modus operandi of avoiding stress, responsibility, and anxiety. Unfortunately, it was at my expense. They did not know what chores were. I got stuck with most or all of it, as I was the obedient one. Once in a while, I could squeeze or blackmail them for a few bucks to take a dive. George taught me, but they were lessons ahead. I would often need to save their bacon. Some people will get the hidden meaning related to our family's association with meat. If you don't already know, I guess I am the brains of the family, and Ralph is obviously the best athlete, which has held true. Anyways, later in life, if I ever told them a story about some engineering work I did or a weird problem I solved, Keith would say, "Wow, Buck, neat, let's eat." And Ralph would say, "Good, Buck, let's play tennis and I'll whoop your butt." Keith also had athletic talent as the best swimmer of us, a decent tennis player, and an excellent curler. Once beat Al Hackner, a famous guy in a provincial Briar in Ontario with Chris Halliburton on his team. Back to Keith's beauty. He was most certainly a pretty boy and a charmer, but I think he washed his long silky hair way too much, and later might have had regrets about that. Anyways, this brings us to the girls phase of their lives. Obviously, I am out, but they stuck together. They were early to the bar scene, and when Keith could go to a bar, Ralph could get in too. But I was out, as no amount of makeup or the best stick-on mustache or the highest quality fake ID can get an 11-year-old into one. Together or apart, they were very successful predators, like big cats, a panther and a leopard. No need to distinguish which one is which one. But anyhow, the three amigos were down to two, and once again, they delegated yours truly with a special task. The bar process follow-up for relationship building required the exchange of phone numbers. They didn't have to call girls too much, but each week they told me to take messages in the name that a girl would ask for. At first I didn't understand because it wasn't their given name. Keith, for whatever reason, liked David and Freddie. But Ralph didn't even like his own name. He preferred Kurt or Brad. It was confusing, but I did a good job. Anyways, Kozaks are highly competitive people, and this area was not off limits for them. If there was an Olympic pairs event for studliness, they would have been a shoe-in for a bronze at least, but maybe some of his and Ralph's friends were worthy of a substitution. Enough said about that. Prior to leaving high school,
Keith's move, okay?
Prior to leaving high school and going to university to get his degree, Keith realized he needed money to enjoy life, and doing chores for chump change, having a paper route, collecting pop bottles, or taking a minimum wage part-time job wasn't going to cut it. He had big dreams and wanted to have his name in lights with Hollywood in the background. As the desperation kicked in, along with the early signs of entrepreneurial talent, he purchased a large quantity of marijuana and hid it in our father's golf bag in the basement, which he never used. Our father was managing a meat packing plant and got an invite to a golf tournament from a big customer, so he dusted off the golf bag and found the weed. George went nuts, and his rage brought Helen down the stairs in panic. His first reaction was to flush the dope and beat him a little later, but not the face. Our mother said, "Wait a minute, this is expensive. It's worth a lot of money. Let's give him a chance to get rid of it and get his money back." George got to thinking, and then he said to her, "I sell slabs of corned beef on the side out of the trunk of my car and bootleg cases of Molson's beer out of the garage on Sundays to make a few measly extra bucks for drinks and a steak at the euchre game at the bar." So Keith was allowed to get rid of it, and when George found out how much money he made, his mad turned to proud. But Keith never did it again. After graduation from university in 1979 with honors BA in history, we think Keith had a short stint as a postman before getting a great job at Libby's, now Heinz, selling canned goods. He really enjoyed dealing with stores and management and was a good salesman, constantly improving his negotiating skills and using a mild form of psychological manipulation and and leveraging from his strong, affable personality. The bonus was we always had free good quality products at home, including a variety of beans and corn. So I taught myself to make spicy chili after school so my mother wouldn't have to cook when she got home. Keith got there first and tasted it. It was hot, so very hot. And for the next 3 days, every time he saw me in the house or around, he crossed his arms like this, like a vampire, and went. As a salesman, Keith did not like being pushed to sell more and produce high numbers in order to get paid and compete for bonus money. After a few years, in around 1987, I bought my first house on LaPorte, close to our parents, and he moved in and got a new sales job at Goldwell, still wanting to give this career another try. He was good at this as well, because a great salesman's best weapon is his personality and the need to overcare for the customer's happiness and satisfaction. He could do it well, and also got tips from our father George. He was also allotted a certain amount of products that he could give away or demonstrate on friends. He started giving coloring jobs in our basement, and he was probably better at it than the selling part. I never heard any complaints, and he even did my hair an exotic color, but it lifted my spirits and confidence as I was experimenting with my own spikiness. He certainly sure made a mess of the basement sink and floor, which was set up like the back room of a salon. Once again, he did not like the paperwork and being pushed to execute on every detail and having to hit sales targets that seemed impossible to reach. He was contemplating a career change as he realized he was off track on his dream goals and was unsure what to do. So he quit. Not the smartest move, but it reduced his anxiety. He took a year off sometime in 1989 and cooked a lot for himself with me and our friends, although he and I were doing this together years before. At this time, he was still fascinated by nice things that he needed to enhance his appearance and lifestyle, including expensive facial cream, exotic clothing, fine art, jewelry, food and wine, and collectibles, but not cars. You can give a shit about the car. Sometime during the 2 sales jobs, he made his first big move and purchase. Before we dish his sometimes lack of common sense and irrational, reactive, impulsive nature, I would like to say something in his defense. A famous philosopher once said, "Man is a luxury-loving animal. Take away fine possessions and travel to exotic places, and you will become a dull, sluggish creature, barely energetic enough to maintain a minimal existence. You must be tempted by baubles to avoid stagnation." Keith was a disciple of this belief. And here's how he got started. In his late 20s, he saved some extra money. He chose not to upgrade his car, buy an appliance he needed, or buy an RSP. Captain Sex Appeal went and bought himself a $4,000 5-inch thick, full-length giant beaver fur coat. He loved that coat, still has it, and often modeled it for his friends. Please don't ask me what he had on underneath. I think that sums up his flamboyant style, or at least his initiation into the culture, aka Joe Namath wannabe. I was working in Sarnia and lost my job in 1990, and then George passed away in August, just after he retired. In 1991, I got a job as a process engineer at a battery company in BC and came out west. and work in Maple Ridge just outside of Vancouver. Keith came to realize that he should become a chef. At 36, with encouragement from us and his close friends, he got accepted into St. Clair College Culinary School, but his program did not start until the fall. I was heading out west in April, sold my house, and needed to be in Vancouver. Keith wasn't working and helped me so much with the packing and temporary move back to Windsor. We decided to take a road trip together across America, and he was going to spend the summer with me. The family had done similar trips a few times over the years, but never all the way across, because we headed north earlier to get to the grandparents in northern Saskatchewan and Calgary, and always went through Winnipeg when we could, because that is where all three brothers were born before we moved to Windsor in 1966. The 5-day trip was great, and we made a humorous 11-page journal that contains many stories and documented every meal on the way. A top 5 memory for me for sure. He was a better driver than I, and insisted on driving more for longer runs, so I would fall asleep and he could sneak smokes. But we had a rule that if I caught him, mostly because he was sloppy with opening the window and I felt the breeze, it was a $5 fine. His penalty pool money was used to buy us a fancy appetizer every night when we stopped for supper and sleep. The story to tell is this. My company was paying for all my expenses and his for up to 6 weeks. Bad idea. And they put us up in a kitchenette suite in a hotel only 5 minutes from the factory. We were both skilled shoppers and loved a good deal. On the way to get groceries, I said, "Hey man, you have to be cool with the cost. I don't want to abuse my company's generosity before I even start the job." He didn't say anything. He wandered a bit in the store, and I was turned away, and he came back. I turned back, and he had a vacuum-sealed beef tenderloin in one hand and frozen lobster tails, which luckily were on sale in the other. We kept the lobster and bought a smaller tenderloin, a compromise we often had to make. He stayed the whole summer at the townhouse I rented and eventually bought, and we cooked together almost every day and shopped side by side every week. It was the best of times for us, and certainly provided for some excellent advanced training for him before he entered chef school. If everybody's okay, we just take a short break because I need to change my jacket. So I want to make sure I don't have a wardrobe malfunction. Just like 2 minutes.
Nothing more wine.
Absolutely.
apologize that I do not have a full suit on. I would like the opportunity to explain it. Mostly every year from 1991 to 97, I went home to Windsor and the family was together for Christmas. The first year he gave me this chef's uniform and a top quality Henkel knife for my gift. So it is with great pride I wear it in his honor. And also this matching chain he gave me on another occasion, and one for Ralph too, which he could not afford. The pants are especially vintage, and cooking together we made this dance move if we ever made a great dish. Lucky I wasn't drinking. It wasn't stealthily executed. It wasn't stealthily executed like a perfect score in synchronized swimming or gymnastics. But he was a good dancer. And maybe like most people, we are not as great as we think we are, but it made him feel good. It was his way, and he was often the life of the party because of it. He did also have a similar quirky skill, also associated with music. He was likely the loudest, most powerful finger snapper and could be heard from a ridiculously far distance away. You could say he had his own personal GPS before anybody knew what that was. And it was also useful to track him down in the bar. Anyways, there are also some flaws in our tandem meal efforts. We made too many courses. We made way too much. We were always late to the plate. We indulged in excess alcohol. The last two are maybe correlated. And we pissed off George a lot, pre-1989. However, we could always soften him up with a good soup or smoked pork hocks and crow, which neither one of us liked to cook. One year, we didn't get to the roast lamb until after midnight, and Helen dropped her head down into her arms next to her plate because she was so tired and full. She woke up 20 minutes later, took 2 more bites, and went to bed. Okay. Keith and I cleaned up 20 minutes later as we were still eating. The food was superb and dessert was often the star course the next day. Our parents loved to entertain and taught us well on the proper etiquette, and we worked hard, the whole family, to maintain the reputation of 8415 Riverside Drive as a house of hospitality and good times. One of the best non-licensed gambling places, restaurants, and bars in town. With delicious iced tea. After graduation, Keith worked in a diner near the airport and then downtown at a restaurant with Diane. We called her Frenchie. He eventually made his way out to Calgary to be with the Cameron sisters in 1994. After a few regular restaurant cooking jobs with increasing rank and title, he jumped at the opportunity to start a catering business in 1999. The strategy was focused on movie contracts for productions in Western and Northwestern Canada. Maverick was successful from 2001 to 2006, and he technically realized his Hollywood dream, but was unable to nurture it to its full potential. If he had an honest and dedicated partner with the appropriate complementary business skills, and they worked hard for another 10 or 15 years, adding more catering trucks and expanding across Canada, or at least to Vancouver, he would have likely been rich and famous as he desired and properly retired. He has the chef credit on at least 6 notable movies and was able to meet, mingle, and serve very renowned actors and stars, which was his privilege. Some were Diane Keaton, Dean Cain, Shannon Doherty, Eric Roberts, Barry Pepper, and Brian Dennehy, in no particular order of rank for coolness factor. I did not have time yet to match what actors were in which movies, but he had fabulous stories for some weird food requests that he got late at night. There are links for proof online under www.imbd.com. After our long battle with evil, which we won without court and minimal use of lawyers, and after salvaging what we could, Maverick was shut down. I still have some of the equipment that he gave me and use it regularly. He got work easily in pubs temporarily while he was getting back on his feet, but he was searching for a high-level job commensurate with his experience and skill. Shortly after, he was so very fortunate to be hired and mentored by executive chef Christoph Hubler from 2006 to 2008 at the Glencoe Golf and Country Club in Calgary. Christoph unfortunately died in a tragic event a few years back. I also cooked with and for him and Keith at a party at our house in 2010 with some saffron that a friend brought back from Tibet on an Everest climbing trip. In addition to Christoph, Keith as chef de partie, how fitting, established a strong bond with Sean Walker, not sure his boss and the Sioux chef. He enjoyed working with Gopi and spoke fondly of these 3 gentlemen chefs during and after he worked there. He was proud and famous for the turkey burger he invented with sun-dried cranberries and herbs and a whole lot of secrets inside. They thought they could remove it from the menu to switch things up, but the members wouldn't let it happen. Keith made his way back to Vancouver as Helen's apartment in White Rock was waiting for him a year after she passed in August 2006. It is a 3rd floor, top floor apartment with an ocean view from the balcony that everyone enjoyed from 2001 until some jackass built a 10-story apartment in front of it about 10 years later. This is a turning point in Keith's life, whereby he was able to establish roots, take responsibility, and become independent. He had lots of safety nets, but didn't need them for money, only occasional advice and steady company and friendship. Some people might not believe that he had the discipline and focus to create his own system for achieving tasks with efficient planning, action, and follow-up. We and he were so proud as he never missed a payment on anything and began to make his life lavish and prosperous again by continuing to acquire and collect fine things, including wine and a massive quantity of weird fish art in a variety of forms, styles, and materials. He turned his life around in such a powerful way. And lots of us here technically worked for him, serving the master, and he referred to us as his minions. The guy with the one eye, the kidney guy, had the rat in his hand. But a couple of us were able to work hard and our way up to VP level. He was also a committed volunteer member on the Building Strata Council, a thankless job he did without whining, maybe a little. And I want to thank those people who supported him and are here today. Prior to Keith landing his final job at the Point Grey Golf and Country Club, he got a job at the Sandpiper restaurant on the beach and once again was lucky to have built lasting relationships with Judy, the owner, and Kathy, his co-chef. Keith was excited when he got hired in 2010 at Point Grey under the leadership of Chef Rob and Tommy, his number 2. Keith also spoke highly of Robin, the food and beverage manager. The team worked well together, and like most places of work, there was healthy banter, harmless rumors, and some politics. He stayed at Point Grey for 12 years and until his retirement in 2021, so it was a good choice, and he had no regrets. He loved the job, but wish he could have got paid a little more. The best part of the job for him was when he got called out to the dining room to talk to members, and he did for sure have some favorites that he was honored to call his friends, Raj and his wife. He also liked to have a routine and enjoyed having Mondays and Tuesdays off, where he spent quality time with his dog Axel, who will be taken care of. And he enjoyed reading the paper every morning. It wasn't as good as the Detroit Free Press, but he figured out how to get it for free at the library, and he could walk the dog at the same time. He also bought lotto tickets, lots of them, every different kind. They're all over the house, everywhere, on every table. How does he know he won or didn't win? But anyways, he took care of chores and action items for the building, helped who he could, and cooked for himself, neighbors, and friends, which he continued to do more often during his retirement. If I was going to sum up Keith's cooking career, you need to know his approach. A famous chef, Art Smith, the Southern Fried Chicken King, once said in one of his cookbooks, "I cook what I love, and I cook it with love." Keith thought that was bang on, and he felt the same. But then Keith said, "You know, I love to cook. I cooked what I cook, and you'll love it." And he delivered, always and often, maybe a little late. It would be greatly appreciated if people who have experienced his food would post on the funeral home's website any of their favorite dishes that Keith made, even when and where, if you can remember. The Ritz-Carlton scallop potatoes comes to mind for Ralph and I as one of his best, and is not as simple as you think. Alice Halliburton said his casino chicken was fabulous, or to die for. Bad connection. Keith's retirement plan was not perfect, but he was happy to hang up his professional apron and go enjoy his extra time and simply be free. In order to generate a little extra lotto cash, he took on a few different part-time jobs starting in the fall. He first drove for a cannabis company doing deliveries. We gave him a cell phone, and my wife, Wendy, she is our family IT consultant, trained him on how to use their mapping software and showed him a few tricks. He couldn't see well out of his left eye and didn't like driving at night and in the rain. After he quit, likely for safety reasons, guess what? He then took a job at a nearby superstore, stocking shelves with what? Guess. Here it comes. Beans. Lots of beans. The special word or phrase escapes me, but let's go with the circle of life often starts and ends at the same place. His only complaint was that the young people that worked there did not get his sense of humor, so he was lonely at times. He eventually quit in January this year. I will leave some of the events after that to the other speakers. I hope that you can bear with me because I'm almost finished. Not really. I don't want to turn this into a Dean Martin roast, although he would have welcomed it. But he is not here to fire back his signature rebuttals, so that's not fair. However, I want to go first on his behalf. Keith was a big Green Bay Packers and Montreal Canadiens fan all his life. Also an indication of his sense of loyalty and commitment. He didn't always make the best decisions, but he wasn't a flip-flopper. The Packers were so special to him that in fact he is wearing a full outfit in his casket in the other room. Shirt, socks, scarf, and hat, but no cheese head. He either lost it or ate it. Probably ended up in a sauce with heavy cream. It was difficult to decide about the pants, and choosing between the super comfortable Cincinnati Bengals sweats, which some prankster gave him and he had for a long time, or his black and white pinstripe chef pants, like the ones I have on. We went with the chef pants, very slimming, and a reminder that he was able to stay out of prison. We tried to give away the Bengals pants, but nobody would take them. He also channeled me a message from beyond and said for me to call the Lions, Broncos, and Cowboy fan friends losers. A term he often used for friendly ruffling of the feathers. You know who you are. All the Kozaks are avid gamblers, as are most of our friends, and we started at a young age. We were in our teens, and if there was a leftover pork chop at dinner, it was not a you snooze, you lose policy. We had more honor than that, so it was settled by gambling, and we picked some way to do it, depending on our sense of urgency and the prize and or punishment. If it was in a hurry, we played round robin, rock, papers, and scissors, and once Ralph did this, pointing out his index finger. Keith and I looked at each other and said, "What's that?" And he said, "Javelin." We gave it to him based on special creativity that he didn't usually have. Other options were cutting cards or rolling dice, but it was always 2 out of 3 because it was more fair to give someone a chance to get their money back, and it evened the odds a bit. If we had more time, we could play poker, usually kings and little ones. A neat version of poker, a game that George taught us. Or euchre, backgammon, computer football, full contact tiddlywinks. It really didn't matter. It was our way, his way, and the way of our friends. As for the pork chop, the winner got it, the loser did the dishes, and second plate washed out. No harm, no foul. In good fun, I'm hoping that I have the nerve to point out a few shortcomings for him and try and explain something that people are curious about. Keith was a diehard procrastinator and stubborn, a bit more than an average person. Robert L. Stevens said, "Sooner or later, everyone sits down to a banquet of consequences." However, how this relates to Keith's tragedy might be explained with this sequence of events. All Keith's life, he was vibrant and healthy. He didn't like doctors or hospitals, and we think he might not have ever been to one. He never had a single medical test done, no standard yearly lab work, nothing. Everyone pushed him to do it, and for years, and with consistent reminders and even begging. Ralph said at Christmas time, "If you show me your test results, I'll give you $1,000. He wanted $5,000. This takes a bit of a dark turn here. Simply put, he got COVID in mid-January. Likely at the superstore and ironically stocking beans. He didn't recover in a normal time period and complications developed. Sore legs, no appetite, loss of smell, but he still didn't go to a doctor or the emergency. He tried to fix it himself in a natural way with weed, ointments, massage. He would confuse or back off people by saying, it's okay, I'm okay. But he wasn't. This lasted for maybe more than 2 months. Finally, he agreed to go to the hospital the night before. When his transport was ready, he put it off again and said, just come in the morning. He likely died of natural causes, a massive heart attack between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. the next morning. All of us are dealing with the ultimate dichotomy of feeling both sad and mad. He simply punched out too early. This next shortcoming is on a happier note, but it was a difficult choice to decide whether to say it or not. First thing I can say before I say what it is that he's highly intelligent. It was who he was. If he thought he needed to know things, it would have made his life better. He would have learned it, but not overlearned it. He would have thought that was a waste of time. But Keith lacked the capability or desire to take advantage of the use of technology, modes for communication, and he always had difficulty organizing things. We gave him all our old computer equipment every time we upgraded it, and he could fudge his way through emails and play mahjong and all kinds of games on the computer, but didn't catch on to deeper things that could have maybe accelerated some efficiency. He didn't archive, store, or file much electronically. He never had a cell phone, but in a way that made him unique. Just to provide some perspective, this was his contact list or Rolodex. Don't laugh, because some of you are on there. He had so many scraps of paper in there, all over his desk, and literally everywhere. For a few people in the Rolodex, he had 4 or 5 numbers. He wrote 5 numbers in a random pattern without crossing any obsolete numbers out. So I was trying to contact one of you and said to myself, maybe I should do eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Anyways, we were so happy that he upgraded from the stone tablet and chisel and set of Dixie cup phones he used to have, 500 feet of string. Call me. Keith, we have some comfort knowing you are with Helen and George and your friends, Chris, Ned, Mary Jo, Renee Bodine, and others. And if you can hear us, we want to say everyone chipped in and we got you the best network connection you can get. Top of the line. A stairway to heaven, if you will. No cord. And a new phone and a new email address. So please, my brother, keep your lines of communication open, your voicemail and messenger on, and check your inbox for emails frequently, because we will be calling. 1-800-LOVE-YOU and goodtimecharlie@forever.com. A lot. Go Packs.
Am I the minion or are you? Me. I see it there. I've used it.
Okay.
So no, I just leave it there, it's okay.
Before I introduce the next speaker from the Cameron family, I want to quote an Irish saying that I picked up from the McFarlanes, my wife's family. Good friends are like 4-leaf clovers, hard to find and lucky to have. I would like now to turn it over to Sandy Cameron, followed by Keith's friend Susan, and after the slideshow, Keith's best friend, Cheryl Cameron. So Susan. Sandy first.
Oh my God! Look at That's okay. Can you hear me? All right. Rona Barrett here with some breaking news of the passing of the chef to the stars, Keith Kozak. People are coming in droves to visit their Riverside Drive mansion in Windsor, Ontario to leave flowers and tributes on their lawn. We expect many star spottings at this celebration of life as it commences. The first sighting is socialites and moguls. The Kozak brothers and their wife Wendy and daughter Kayla arrive in the most spectacular limousine. Not on the next sighting is the washed out leg models, the Cameron girls, and their agent, the Shrew. Yes, got it. At one point, it was reported that the girls' legs were all insured for $1 million each. Further spotting was his minions and PAs, Susan and Marie of White Rock. Another top chef of the star, Leo DeMars, flew on his private jet all the way from Windsor, Ontario. I have it from a reliable source that Diana Ross and Tina Turner are going to be in attendance today. There are too many of you star-studded minions that are here to celebrate his life to mention all of you. But we appreciate you all coming to celebrate for Keith's celebration of life. So let me take my Rona Barrett outfit off. And this is Keith's real coat, okay? His coat that he bought. So, with all serious now, Keith had a very simple life philosophy. Fantasy, avoidance, and denial. So my introduction was Keith's fantasy of always wanting to be part of the Hollywood scene. Keith was always up on all the star gossip. You asked him about somebody, he knew if Tina Turner was living in Switzerland or whatever. He was always up on it. Keith loved being a chef on the movie sets throughout the prairie provinces of Canada, right in his element. So this is the fantasy part of his philosophy. It brings me now to the avoidance part of his philosophy. So Keith was not a person who liked conflict. Instead, he chose to make authentic connections with people in his life and anybody that crossed his path. The plumber, the vegetable lady, the lotto store, the butcher. He was a real person of his community. People knew him. With our family, he charmed his way into our life in many ways. One example, Keith would come to our house on many Sundays to read the Detroit Free Press. Now, Keith could have bought his own Detroit Free Press, right? But it wasn't reading the newspaper he was looking for. It was the connection to be within our family. Keith just wanted to be in the middle of the buzz of 3 teenage girls, to play a quick game of cards with our mother, the big woman, or to talk sports with our father. Sometimes he would come when nobody was there. He would devour every page of the Detroit Free Press, go for a swim, make a shrimp salad, leave it for us for dinner, leave a note, and be on his way for the day. He was just like that. So Keith was the son my father never wanted. He ate too much, and he laughed too loud, and he was too crazy and wild for our father. But with all of his silly antics, he won our father over. My mother, who he lovingly nicknamed the Shrew, for all of the years we drove her crazy, was a fierce competitor with Keith of any board game, any card game, any sporting event. Everything was a betting opportunity with the two of them.
Still owes me $30.
That was part of my line, Betty.
The only rule that my mother had was the money had to be on the table. And I was going to say, he left owing my mother $30. My sister Sherry, AKA Little Woman Chad, Man from Calgary, Silverback, and many, many more nicknames, was a lifelong friend spanning 54 years. Keith made their friendship a priority, no matter where they lived in Canada. They shared many a cup of coffee over morning phone calls, crossword puzzles. Now, let me just explain our morning phone calls with Keith. He would call, "Hi Keith," we would put the phone on speaker, we'd put it on the table, and everybody, including Keith, would go about their day. "Hi, yes," and Keith would go, blah, 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 blah. He would sometimes be shaving, he would be getting ready, and whatever, but we just loved connecting with each other. And the last part of their friendship was that laughter was always the center of their friendship. Not just laughter, full belly laughters over the silliest things. Now, my sister Darlene, AKA PA, Minion, and Darcy, and many, many more, holds the backgammon record of 20 consecutive wins against Keith. Now this is Now this is a statistic he never shared with anybody because he did not like to lose. They also shared a deep love of music and could tell you any artist and any song on the radio. For me, aka baby of the family and Nurse Ratchet, I will always cherish his phone calls. We would stop at the top of the Windsor friend list and get an update on just everybody that he wanted to know how they were doing. And the unique thing about Keith is that he remembered all those details. And if he saw you, he would ask you, "How was your exam? How was your mother? How was your children?" He was really sincerely interested in your life. On one Calgary visit, I taught Keith a new game, Susan, dice poker. I taught him that new game, and we went to bed with him owing me $11. Bright and early, I got a little shove, shove, shove. "Come on, get out of bed, I want to win my money back." So this brings us to the last part of his philosophy, which is denial. And really, there's no denying that Keith made an impact on this earth. With his beautiful smile and not one cavity because he avoided the dentist. His iconic laugh, his loud snapping fingers, his quick wit, he charmed his way into many people's lives. Although there will be a deep void in our hearts, we have cherished you in our lives, and we thank you for the memories, Benzie. You are a shining star on our Hollywood Walk of Fame, and we love you, and we are really going to miss you. I just wanted to let you know, if people saw, I put in with Keith the Detroit Free Press, but I just wanted to let Keith know we took the crossword puzzle because we're going to do it ourselves. And our next speaker is going to be Susan.
Mine will be sweet and short, as public speaking is not my most favorite thing. So my name is Susan, one of Keith's cast of characters. Oh, up here?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. So I'm still Susan, and one of Keith's cast of characters and close friend. Our journey began at Georgian Square as new owners on the 3rd floor, which we later coined ourselves Forever Bookends. Imagine, if you will, my first eyes on him. During a snowstorm, and I see a man wearing a toque and ear flaps and a full-length fur coat. Instantly, I had to get to know him and have him in my life. Like, wouldn't you want that? Yeah. Our shared love of food, fine wine, music, storytelling, and games led to endless laughter and the Monday tradition of cooking with Kozak. Simmering pots, pans, new recipes, and altering between homes was a weekly event. He taught me a lot of how to cook, and I'm so grateful. Being loved by Keith was a gift that brought together a kaleidoscope of personalities through exceptional home-cooked meals and an abundance of stories. I may not have lived in Riverside Drive, met Helen or George, worked or attended school with him, but I sure did hear and listen to countless renditions of his life before and during our friendship, over and over and over again. Jumpin' Jiminy. He had colorful ways of expressing himself, and some we can't speak here. And as I understand it, y'all heard stories about me too. Over the years, we shared life's highs and lows, became part of one another's families and friends. He wasn't always comfortable sharing grief or worries, so he loved and comforted through service and culinary delights. He didn't shy away from playing dress up, moments of spontaneous dance, and singing with the belief that the EGOT was just within his hand. Let's remember his spagantics, because to have been in Keith's light was to be playful with no regrets. My darling Keith, I am so grateful to have been the warmth of your company and a trusted bud. We dreamed, we played, we laughed, all the while making a mountain of memories. Memories that now must sustain us all of us who loved him. I'm going to insert a poem, and he may scream from the heavens, but that's too bad. You are a shelter from life's frequent storm. Like a comfortable blanket, you keep me snug, safe and warm. You're light in the window when everything's dark. You're a trip to the circus and a romp in the park. Like a bright sunny summer, you're a joy without end. And I'm so privileged to call you my friend. Where was I? Oh yes. You will be missed, my darling. I'll see you when I see ya. So long, Sophia. So love always, your diva divine. And now I will sash away.
teacher, I know we're ready for a break. We've got some stretching to do.
Yeah.
But I think I would like to just show the slide.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, and the slide.
Yeah, the slideshow,
Yeah.
which is under 4 minutes, 3:45. So, but we're going to go ahead and start, like I said, 3 minutes. Apologies first if I didn't get the correct name, the correct spelling, if I missed people, I missed some of these gals here. But this is my visual celebration of my bestie for 54 years. So I must be kind of crazy too, because it was a ride. I think all I can say about Keith is the adjective that describes him is charisma. And I thought charismatic, charisma, like, do I have that defined? Probably, because I am a retired school teacher. A person who possesses special traits that attracts, inspires, and fascinates other people. Amen. Yes. Warm and competent that engages and persuades others. Yeah. A self-awareness, open body language, active listening, treating each person you encounter with equal respect. Generous of spirit, present and engaged, genuinely interested in everyone. A genuine desire to belong to your world, or a desire to envelop you in his world. Here's my best friend. And all you cast of characters, right? Yeah, here's the cast. Thanks.
So that about wraps it up. Firstly, want to thank everyone who attended, both online, the streamers or screamers, and in person. I would like to give a special thanks to some families that Ralph and our parents knew were special to Keith, and also the people that touched him most recently in the last phase of his life, in no particular order. First and foremost, the Cameron family. Susan O'Keefe, Lenore Simpson from Windsor, the Halliburtons from Windsor, the Deschamps from Windsor, the Stokes, Marie Evans, Sean Walker, and Kathy Peterson. And last but obviously not least, the great job the Valley View Funeral Home team did, led by Svetlana Boot and Dale, who handled the streaming service. Thank you. Please feel free to linger a bit and stuff some stuff in your purse.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you, Paul.
Sorry. I have a precious email I have that I wanted to read quickly. Kind of like a Polish encore. This is from the Robertson sisters, Terry, Dawn, and Debbie. Couldn't have made the font a little bigger. Not Bugs Bunny, made by Acme Print Company, 1962. Some people that we meet, we never forget. Some people we think about with such high admiration, we mention them all the time. And some people, we just know instantly we've met someone special, and we feel very lucky to know them. We are three sisters who all had on occasion to meet our friend Keith at very different times and very different places. We were such crazy about him and how we connected instantly, absolutely clicking with his great sense of humor and everything about him. When we found out we each knew him, we couldn't believe it. We talked about his great personality being so contagious and delightful, and how he must click with our family's sense of humor too. He won each of our hearts completely. We thought how amazing that he would strike each of us that much in meeting him. I, Terry, met him when he was wearing a floral Hawaiian shirt and cow patty chef hat, performing a 5-course dinner for many at dear Cheryl's home, knocking the socks off me with big, beautiful personality, and entertaining all of us with his wonderful food as much as his antics. Sister Debbie met him while working at the White Rock grocery store, engaging banter together whenever he came in, and each enjoying each other's goofiness. They were an enjoyment to each other's day. And Sis Dawn met him helping all the ladies load their antique delights into their trucks at Dawn's Country Antique Sale, where good old Keith was more than charming the customers into letting him help them with their treasures and alternately hurling good-natured insults at Dawn and she at him. We knew we had each met someone that special. That makes you know you're very lucky to know them. Someone you think about and tell others about. We are the Robertson sisters, the Butt sisters we are known to some. We, Terry, Dawn, and Debbie, all want to say how lucky we feel to have known him. And we shall always be feeling like we had too little of him, until we see him again. Our hearts are there with all of you, celebrating the wonderness of Keith's life. He is not gone. He will definitely not be forgotten. We just can't see him, but we feel him with all of us, the time. Love you guys. To the Robertsons. Sorry for the confusion. If anybody's comfortable enough and wants to say anything, it's open mic night, like 15 minutes. Again, please feel to have another drink and some food.
That's all I got.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could just have your attention for 1 minute, just go in 1 minute. I have a very special guest to introduce. You can stay where you are. He's came a long ways from Windsor. Leo DeMarche was Keith's buddy at St. Clair College, and they went through culinary school together.
Hi, thanks. I won't take too long, but yeah, that's where Keith and I met. We've been dear friends our whole lives since then. He almost got as good a grade as I did. I got a little bit better. I know his potatoes were the best. It was Reiner Schindler that taught that I'm saying some of these names because I'm hoping some of those people will see this video, because they probably don't know. I had to tell Diane the other day. She was devastated. She's also was, of course, from the college, and Keith loved her like you wouldn't believe it. And he loved so many people. And I'm so jealous of all of you. So I didn't get enough time with him either. Last time I was here was for my 50th birthday about 6 years ago. And I've almost died twice since then. I'm just mad that I didn't get back here in time. So it's been a pretty tough few years, and yet, Keith, I love you to death, man, and very sorry about my composure, but he always talked about so many of you as well, and we would get on the phone and chat, but boy, we were at a special time in our lives. It was the birth of a whole new era, and just want to really tell you, Keith, that go Lions.
He loved you guys. He loved you guys, okay?
He fed me so much avocado. He fed me so much avocado.
If anybody wants to tell a story.
The turkey burger. Plug in the herbicide Tamartola. They stop drinking though, so they're no fun at all.
Oh yeah.
Really?